Alrighty then. We got the band switch on this one all cleaned up, and all the lugs cleaned up and refreshed. Yeah, we got that sucker ready for prime time. So now we've got this antenna coil all cleaned, pretty much cleaned up. There's a couple of chinkawonkies there that's got to be desoldered down and prepped for fresh connections. The lamps are redone and new wiring on those. The dual patter has been all cleaned up, and this RF trimmer array is cleaned up and ready to go back in. Now what do we do next? We're going to move to the off-on volume switch. Son of a stitch. And we're gonna clean all the lugs up and redress the micas and get them tightened up, and the resistors tightened up. So we're going to take this one apart and clean it, and then we're going to move on to the oscillator can and oscillator coil and get it checked out and identified. I did manage to see if my papers will stay put long enough. We got a slight breeze today. Let me get some light on here. Sorry for all the bang slanging and all the other crap. Okay, so we got this coil. There is, yeah, let me get my pokey side there. That little white area you see right there, that is coiling from these fine wires over here to connect lug 1 and lug 2 together. That comprises one coil. This comprises another coil, and that is the third coil. And we've got them identified and split out right here. That blue dashy line right through there is that tiny coil right there. It hooks to 1 and 2. The top coil in the red band there, it connects 3 to 5, and this lower one, the green, connects 4 and 5. So that's how it's configured, in case anybody was interested. So anyway, and there's the values that I got, updated values that I got. I think I got the other ones while it was still in the chassis. So this is raw readings, coil only, with no connections to anything else. So let's move on. Okay, moving on to the switch. We got the lugs. Got the lugs all cleaned up and everything. We're going to go for a final cleaning once we get it apart and everything, and we're going to scrub up the lugs and brighten them up a little bit. Removing this thing here, you got that spring clip that kind of puts a little resistance on this this bushing here, this concentric control. One is for your tuning, the outer one, the brass one, is for your tuning, and the off-on switch goes through the middle. Remove the 2 hex head screws. That comes off along with the spring metal band, and then that comes right out. And that's going to go in the dip. Now we'll remove this this speed nut here, and and try to get it. There we go. Remove that speed nut. Now, before you go taking this thing apart, always index your off-on switch into the off position. So, and note when you get it apart, the direction of this thing here, it's got a little slot on both sides, and then you got a tang here that sticks out. That gives you the orientation of the switch when it goes in on its final mounting position. Now, what I do in order to get these open, I mean, you don't have to go this far. I mean, you can spray some deoxit in here. I would suggest for Zenith models, use the fader stuff, because it won't. Well, I haven't heard of an instance where people have had an issue with it ruining the traces on the volume pot. But that's what I would do. Now, in my case, I open them up, clean them up, and flush them out. And to do that, I get flush cuts. An old pair would be suitable, like maybe this old crotchety pair that I've wore down to almost a nub. Go in there and just give it a little pry job. Now, be careful with these, because you will break them off if you overstress them. A little bit that way. These flush cuts are great for this. And just kind of flex it a little bit so that you don't stress it at its original bend point. Because you don't want to go too over what you need to get the thing open. This one here is just like this side, except they bent this one over because they weren't going to use it. It wouldn't have mattered because the mounting bracket, it has a slot on both ends. And there we go. Now that you got it indexed in the off position, note how this ring comes out of there. Jiggle it around just a little bit. That's all you got to do. Whole lot of shaking going on. Okay, there we go. And note the position of this tang right there. It is approximately right halfway between these two lugs for the volume thing. And if you want, you can grab your little mini file and go in here and index that thing so you know right where the heck the sucker is going to go. And put a little groove. Get a groove going on there. You can put a little bit of a groove in there, and it ain't gonna hurt it, as long as you don't go into the band and start removing some of that anything. So that way, if you notice, this is all flush except for what I just put a notch in. That will afford you a way of either draining it after you flood it. You can flood it through these openings here, or those openings there. But this doesn't have the traditional platter that goes around in the thing. This has a band that rubs around the outer ring of the case. So that's where it's getting its chunk of winky from. So now what I'll do is I will go ahead and flood that with the thing and move it back and forth and back and forth, and then blow it out a little bit You can see there that it's got a little bit of stuff coming out of it now. So I mean, it's like stuff that you got in your oil when you go to change it. What turns the oil black is the shavings. So we're going to clean that up. We're going to stick it back together, and we'll close it up, and we're going to move on to that oscillator coil. So thanks for watching. Okay, we got the off-on volume switch all cleaned up. We got the lugs. We got the lugs all clean. All the other parts are clean. You see that little spiral on it? On that fillet there on that tube? Well, I do that with one of these little mini files, little rat tail, and I put a little zip 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 in about 4 or 5 spots around the tube like that. That's a string gripper. That'll keep that string from slipping on you when in those situations where she gets to the near end of travel and starts to or you get a little buildup of muck and mire on your bearing thing on the tuner. That string won't slip around that. It will, you know, if it's got to, but I mean, this will keep it, you know, from having to go in and do an adjustment on it all the time. We're going to put our little C-clip back on there, and then we're going to take the 2 halves and to hold and put them together. Make sure this thing is in the line when that one there is. Slip it in there. There, that's it. Okay, now this is the one that stays erect. We're going to take this and we're going to bend this one over. I said we're going to bend that one over. Yeah, there. Now, what I generally do is I don't bend these all tight down, you know, and flush. I do it until she's on there good enough and she ain't gonna move, and that eventually prevents you from bending that thing to the point to where it breaks, and it will break. Okay, there we go. Now let's do a little Gorka. Okay, so we got it there. So now we put the base bracket on, and first we have to put the diverter, the protectionist, yeah, there we go. I always flex them like that in kind of a U shape, like that, so that way I can access the terminals with the soldering gun without having to flex this thing back out of the way and have it stick in my face all the time. So now that we got that on there, we can stick this back in there. No, not this one, you dope. That one. There. Seat it down in there real good. Take that speed nut and Speedy Gonzalez it back in there. I said, there we go. Sorry if I'm out of frame. You know, my brain, it slips into neutral without demand. Okay, now we take the other. Take your favorite tool, less the baling wire. And now I do have some box and wrenches that I could do that with, but they're over there, and I'm over here, and I'm not going to get up to go do that. So now we can take and do the do. We'll put some of this secret sauce. Come on, secret sauce. Am I out of sauce already? There it is. I'm almost out of sauce. And we're gonna donkey it up real good. And now we're gonna take and spin this sucker on there until we can't go on any further. Okay, there we go. Now, these will come off, and this here will go on like so. Let me see if I can do this in frame. We're going to put that up there like that. We're going to do that like that, and we're going to slide that thing on there like that. There we go. Like that. And then we're gonna put it in place, and we're gonna just spin these in a couple of turns, or a turn and a half, or whatever we can get. There we go, that. And yeah, well, you know. You know what I mean. Watch that grass grow. Yeah, there we go. There. I think we got it submitting now. We got it on the ropes. There we go. That's it. Diggity dogs. Now, when you go to put this in, you're going to need some more secret sauce here on this tube for this band, because otherwise it'll rub a groove in it. So now that's it for that. So let's move on to something a little more interesting.